Gentlemen, welcome to the 10th days of Ramadan stream. And yesterday we didn't read Quran on stream. Well, that happens. I had a thing here that I used to hold. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. Just give me a second. Well, I like to hold that and fidget with it. This is a fidget ball, by the way. So yeah, this is the 10th day of Ramadan, and this is the first stream. It's 6:15 a.m. right now, and we're gonna start right away with the Quran, inshallah. Hopefully, we can, read the whole. Just it's gonna depend on whether I rant a lot or not. But I actually would like, to start not by the Quran. I'm gonna start by reading a post that I've seen on Facebook, which I've actually written a comment for. Yeah, and people are seeing that comment right now. So, guys, for a long time, I used to write posts, long posts on Facebook, and yeah, I've garnered some following on Facebook because of those posts, and those posts were just my ideas. It's literally what I'm saying right now, right here on stream on Twitch, on the YouTube videos that I upload. But it was written, so it was more coherent, more organized, and it was in Arabic. And I used to write in English long ago, more than over 11, 12 years ago or something. So, um, uh, because I have only 24 hours in my day and I do other stuff, what I've done 3 months ago is I stopped writing on Facebook and decided that that time that I used to write posts or those ideas, I want to try to convey them in another medium, throughout another medium, another way of communication, which is what I'm doing right now. But once in a while, I see something on Facebook that attracts my attention, and I that post is in an adult ADHD support group in Egypt. So I suffer from ADHD, and one of the things that I've done when I discovered that is I checked online for various groups that has people that suffer from ADHD like me. So I see what everyone else is does with something like that, and this is one of those groups. And someone wrote like a venting type of post, and so what I'm gonna do is in Arabic, so I'm gonna translate it into English. And that's not, I'm not giving out any secrets or something like that. No. It's public group, I think, and it's public on the group. So I'm gonna translate it without, of course, really, saying any names, and I'm gonna say my response and say why I'm saying all of that before reading the Quran today. So here's what he's saying, and it's not literal translation, guys. I'm just translating the whole idea of it. So he's just, I'm gonna read from his point of view right now. It starts now. So this is just some, ranting. I have so many ideas, and I think that no one will understand me more than those who are like me and suffer from ADHD like me. So here it is. Lately, I have dealt with someone who is much younger and much more successful than me. He's in his second year in college, and he's almost a senior graphic designer. And he he makes a lot of money right now, a whole lot of money. And we had similar, personalities and similar brains, and I think that he looks like me in the way that he thinks about stuff and stuff like that. So I had a question: what makes someone who is in his second year of college much more successful than me, a million times more successful than me, while I'm almost done with my college and I'm about to graduate, and I have done nothing or achieved nothing in my life? I have been in many fields. I've done many things, but I didn't achieve anything, and I always think all the time that I'm in the wrong field. And after a while, I knew that that person that I'm talking about has an older brother who's 7 years older than him, and that brother of his is working something like in a job that in a field that has something to do with technology. So that brother of his, he has a much bigger and much stronger PC, and it was just natural that his younger brother understands more about technology and knows about freelancing, and he had uh, so much help opposed to what I've had. I'm talking from his point of view, opposed to what I've had in my life. Also, his brother put so many much expensive, so many things for him that was really expensive. So for him, he had everything going on for him, while I had nothing. He had someone who can guide him, while I had nothing. He had someone who can buy anything that for him, and for me, it's the total opposite. I can't even buy the necessities for my college, and for him, his family took care of him and gave him everything that he wants and he needs, while I have nothing, no one who does anything for me whatsoever. So I have no brothers or sisters, no one to guide me or buy me anything, and I too suffer from ADHD, and I can't focus on one thing at all. And even the necessities for my college, I can't buy it, and I have no idea how I'm gonna buy it, and it's really important that I do. So I'm really frustrated and really tired and really annoyed, and I'm asking all the time, why him, not me? Why is it like why does he have all of that stuff while I have nothing? Why is he blessed like that while I am cursed with my life? And I feel like I'm much smarter than him, and if I even had an ounce of what he has, I would have been much more successful than him. And I hate my thoughts and hate my life and all of that. And yeah, that was the post that was written, and it triggered so many ideas in me. So I wrote a comment explaining those ideas, and I'm gonna read my comment right now. So again, I'm translating. My comment is in Arabic, so I'm translating here. So, number one, I can write you tens of examples from my own personal life that they all rotate around the same idea, and they're all talking about the same concept and same idea. And that idea is how I was exactly like you. But I was even in a much worse place than you, I believe. And all my ideas and all my thoughts were that if I had those things that I wished for back then, I would have been the happiest person to ever live. And I did. I owned everything I ever wished for, and more. Really, really more. Everything in this life that I ever wished I can buy, I bought. And I got to a point where I actually had I deal a lot in e-commerce, guys. So you can imagine if you have some one of the major e-commerce conglomerates tell you take it for free, whatever it is you have, whatever it is that you want. Here's a blank check. Someone those types of deals happen with many who are in my field, guys. And imagine if Amazon gave you, all right, here is $100,000, get whatever you want with it. I had that, and I got to that place where I really don't know what I wanna buy now, and I still wasn't the happiest. Far from it. Far from it. It took many years in my life until I understood, and what I'm saying, it's not just words. No, no, no. This is real. That it and it's a core part of my own doctrine, my own constitution, my own ideal. That number one, every person, every human being that was ever created, God gives them everything that they need, not that what they want. No, no, everything they need to actually succeed in the human test that we are living in right now. Because what we are living in is a test. So, as a Muslim, we understand that because we were taught that. But there is a whole difference here between understanding and knowing. So, as a Muslim, we learn that, and it's written in the Quran, and we're gonna read it while we're reading the Quran, that everything, and I've talked about that in the past 8 days or 9 days, I believe, that every creature in this universe, God asked them, do you wanna be tested? And the test here comes with a blessing, and it's not a curse, but it's a burden. So the blessing is our own consciousness, that we are able to think, we are able to create, we are able to understand, to ponder, to wonder. And the burden is that it's a test, because with with great power comes great responsibility, and yes, with understanding comes suffering. So imagine if you were just a tree, on this planet here. You wouldn't care about injustice, oppression, being poor, being rich, being successful, being not successful. You're just a tree. You're getting what you want from the sun and from the earth, and that's it. Imagine if you were a cat, you were a dog. But as a human being, that comes with a burden of awareness, of consciousness, and understanding brings out suffering. And that is a core part of our test as human beings. So, God gives us everything we need to actually get the best result in our own version of the test. And each and every one of us has their own version of the test. So, when I was back in college, I thought that why haven't I been born in USA, in Palo Alto, somewhere close to Silicon Valley? Because I was studying communications and electronics engineering, and why am I studying something that I'll never be able to build anything in Egypt, while there it's much easier to work on electronics and stuff like that? And I thought that I was the smartest, and I didn't understand back then that nah. And I'm gonna explain here what I understood back then. So, the second thing in that point is that each and every one of us has their own test, and that test is 3 parts. So the 3 parts starts with patience, and it's really tricky to explain that, especially in a second language. But let me try. So, as a human, you want everything and you want it now. That meme, what do you want? Such and such. Where do you want it now? Yeah, as humans, we want everything now. And dealing with the urgency part in our psyche and in our instincts, where we want everything now, it's not easy, especially when we can argue that, yeah, we need it, and we need it even yesterday, not just now. And wanting to escape suffering is also something that we want now. It's hard for us to, bear with things as humans. And that is one of the toughest things that we have to do and learn, which is patience. The second part in that test, it's that you can't just exist. You can't just, as I said before, live as a monk on top of a mountain and that's it. Because this is the easy way out. Well, you can't kill yourself. It's a major sin in Islam. It's one of the most major sins. You can't ever, off yourself. And at the same time, you have to bear with this life and struggle through it. And also, you can't escape it. You can't just say, I'm gonna go on top of a mountain somewhere and live in seclusion, and I wanted to do that. You can't. There is no monkhood in Islam, and it shouldn't be for any human to live in seclusion. No, you need to exist and coexist and actually be of benefit to someone else, or hopefully many others. And actually, you need to achieve something. If you're here on this earth, you were created for a purpose. You need to find that purpose and you need to achieve it. And this is the third part of that test. Again, this is here the 3 parts, the 3 main parts of each and every one of us, their own version of the test. It can differ, but they have to have those 3 parts. So the third part is to understand what God, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means. What does it mean to to understand and to know and to worship? And after that comes guiding others around you toward that, and letting them know why and how, and letting them know what they shouldn't do, or what they need to take, or what they need to be careful of. Um, and those three parts of the test, they exist for each and every one of us. And throughout this life, each and every one of us will have the full version of the test. What might come early for someone might come late for someone else. So someone might live the most amazing life ever. They are born into royalty. They actually are beneficial, and they are doing many amazing things to everyone around them. They're handsome. They can play video games, amazing, and they can get 40 kills in this matches in Valorant easily. And when they're around at their 60s or late 70s, they're gonna do something that can turn all of their life upside down, and turn everything that it was good that they ever worked for into a curse on them, and they become one of the worst people to ever live. So I actually can give an example that's I haven't written in the comment, but I can actually say it here in two ways. The number one is, yes, it's true that for many, it's not for all, but for many, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And one of the most prominent examples on that is Rudy Giuliani. If you know, I think he's really famous now. You don't have to be from USA to understand who Rudy Giuliani is. But back at 9/11, Rudy Giuliani was considered to be one of the most heroic figures in all of USA, and movies were done about him. And yeah, back then he was a Superman, and now he is the Penguin. Literally, he's the closest living example of the Penguin from Batman that we know of. So that happens for many. So back then, around 9/11, imagine if someone around Rudy Giuliani, who had a similar career path to his, and they were competing, and now he's seeing Rudy Giuliani being touted as the most prominent figure in all of USA. They'll feel, man, I wish that I am him. Imagine that person now. Do you really want to be him? So this is because currently, in the current version of society that we live in, and that's something that I talked about a lot, it's skewed. The way that we measure success, the way that we measure achievement is skewed. So the example that I'm giving in the comment is, imagine if we lived in a society that considered basketball is as the most important thing to ever have in your life. Alright? Someone like me, so I'm gonna say it in centimeters. I'm 190 centimeters. I'm 2 meters, but 10 centimeters. I'm really tall, alright? So I can easily do a slam dunk. Okay, and yeah, I'm considered one of the tallest among my peers. But if I existed in a society that considered basketball as the most important thing ever, yeah, I'll have a leg up on everyone else. Shaq, for example, Shaquille O'Neal. Come on, bro, bro's living his happiest just on the court. No one else was taller than him. Now, imagine living in that society, but you can't even run with a ball. You will feel like whatever it is that you can do, you will feel that you're always lacking, and that you can't exist or can't feel success at any point or any way. This is what we're living in right now. So not everyone is equipped to accumulate wealth. Not everyone is created with those muscles, those features, because this is not the only measure for success, and it shouldn't be one of the measures for success or achievement at all. Money is the cheapest thing ever. If that was hard to understand before, it should be now in our current society very easy to understand. And yet, and here's the most ironic part, in our current society, with everything that we've seen, money is still the most prominent measure for success. So, for example, I talked and explained a whole lot about blockchain, and I give that example many times. I talked about Bitcoin and made videos for explaining what Bitcoin is, as it was equal to $12. I've seen it grow from $12 to $50 or $60,000. I have seen that, and I've seen it from the other side as well. I've seen companies, WeWork for example, as it was in $44 billion to whatever it is right now. I've seen it. I follow a whole lot in technology and economics and finance, guys. So I see it day and day and day and day. That money doesn't measure worth or achievement or success. Yet we keep using it that if you can generate more wealth and more money, then you're successful, you're doing alright. And they're actually, they tell us that, how are you doing, bro? I'm doing alright. Nah, money isn't doing alright. Whatever it is that you're getting. So, because of that, because we're equating everything to money, we think of our life in terms of dollar value, which will lead anyone who thinks like that toward paths of agony and struggling and suffering. So imagine if you were the most talented person ever to work in the chemistry of, submarine fuel, for example. But you never knew anything about submarine fuel. You don't know what you don't know. So how will you ever realize that you are really talented and that you have been blessed with something that no one else have been blessed with? Anyone who finds himself looking at what someone else has, he's not flawed. You're not bad. You're not terrible because you're doing that. No. What you have is ambition. In Islam, we have been taught to actually do that. We have been taught to actually look around and see who else is doing better than us and try to do better than them. But not in money, in understanding, in learning, in thinking. So it's a literal verse in the Quran. It's ayah, وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسُ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. And the translation for it, and in that, those who want to compete, or those who compete should compete in it. What that refers to here is understanding, learning, thinking. Again, as I read, Islam is all about an invitation, please read, think, understand. And out of that comes worshipping, by the way. So worshipping doesn't mean do, then understand. No. It starts with understand, read, then do, then understand more. So here's the most amazing thing in our life as humans. This is the thing that, this is, for me, for what I understand, is one of the reasons that God is called Al-Rahman Rahim, or the most merciful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is called the most merciful. So, and that's because the moment that we realize all of what I'm talking about, it's like your compass is adjusted in a moment, in less than a moment. You feel like your compass adjusted 180 degrees. And that moment that this happens, everything that is a source of struggle and source of suffering and pain in your life suddenly turns into fuel. Suddenly turns into, oh wow, okay. Now, all of that, I can just understand that as I'm bearing with it, as I'm having patience, dealing with all of that, oh, I'm being measured, I'm being tested right now, and this is a part of my test, and all of this life is just a test. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. No one will remember what position, who filled what position in what company 56 years from now. All food at the very end is the same. The feeling of satisfaction that you get from eating bread is the same feeling of satisfaction that you feel from eating the most expensive Wagyu beef ever. The feeling of satisfaction that you get from being with your wife is the same feeling of satisfaction that you get if you've been with the most amazing 10 sexiest women in the world. It's the same. Every joy that you chase in this life, it's the same. And this is the thing, you will never understand that until you actually get it, or you think a little bit about it. And everyone who got it said the same. And I'm not saying don't chase it, don't seek it. You actually have to chase it, have to seek it. This is what we on this earth for, and this is what we exist and coexist for, and God told us to seek power so we can use it and be beneficial to others. But we need to understand that getting it is a byproduct. It's not the goal. What we do with it is more important, and what we do with what we have is more important than what we have. And if we think about that, we understand that it's more important to think about what we're doing with what we're having, even if what we were doing was just being patient, bearing with it, not complaining, being happy. Okay, being beneficial to someone starts with being beneficial to yourself. And the way that you be of benefit to yourself is by understanding what kind of setup and test you are in right now. So, my last words to him were that he's a prisoner in an illusion that was created by a society that really only benefits those who created it right now. So the illusion of capitalism and, living the life that we live in right now is only beneficial to those who are, on top. And I don't think of them as on top, by the way. It's only beneficial to those who want that. They struggle, they suffer. Anyone who follows the royal family in England, for example, man, they are some of the most miserable human beings to ever exist. Anyone who follows, so imagine the CEO of whatever corporate or conglomerate you want. Okay, imagine if you are a young entrepreneur, alright? You are 20-something young entrepreneur, and you just sold your amazing startup for what? $1 billion? Okay, you sold, no, let's be realistic here. Okay, you sold your startup for, say, $200 million. Alright? And right now you have $200 million. Okay, and just understand, it's not money for nothing. No. You've achieved something. Every newspaper and outlet and website out there wrote about how amazing and smart and how you've helped humanity. Alright? So you've been beneficial to every human being on this planet. You have $200 million in your bank account. You have fame, you have power, you have everything. And are you happy? I challenge anyone who achieved anything in this life to tell me that, yeah, right now I feel like the most content or the happiest human being ever because of what I've made or what I created or what I have in my bank account. It's not that. I swear it's not that. I've had it, from both ends of the spectrum, and I can tell you, it's not there, it's not here. It's not at being the most poor, the one who, lives on top of mountain in seclusion, not caring at all about life, or you at the other end where you are the most touted and most celebrated figure in your society and you have money and fame and power and all of that. It's not here, it's not here. And it's not in the middle. It's not on that spectrum whatsoever. Happiness, content, and, being stable, it comes from understanding what this life actually is and means. Only then that you understand that everything on this spectrum, everything is just fuel, just tools for you to use. And you will never be happy or content or stable unless you understand what those tools are and what they are used for. So, from engineering perspective here, no matter how many tools you have, you will never, ever be able to use them unless you understand those tools and what they are used for, and you understand what you need to do in the machine or whatever it is that you want to build or fix. So it's not about gathering, and because everyone right now is celebrating, gathering as many screwdrivers as possible. Nah, it's not about that. You may have saws in your life, you may have hammers in your life, but because you're thinking that I need to gather screwdrivers right now, this is what I need to do. No, bro, you have hammers because you have nails. God gave you the hammer, God gave you the nail. God gave you the screwdriver, God gives you the exact nail that you need to use that for. Or God gave you the task of searching for it. Either searching for the tool, either searching for the task, but it all comes from understanding. And once that happens, it's not gonna matter whatsoever what tool it is that you have or what task it is that you're trying to work on, because you just now understood and you're trying to do what you gotta do. So this is what I told him, and yeah, I hope that he understands what I said to him. And all of that I just learned from the Quran. So yeah, I'm gonna start reading now. Wow, I spent 30 minutes talking about that, and it takes me about what, an hour 20 to finish a juz while I explain my thoughts. Let's do that. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولو أننا نزلنا إليهم الملائكة وكلمهم الموتى وحشرنا عليهم كل شيء قبلا ما كانوا ليؤمنوا إلا أن يشاء الله ولكن أكثرهم يجهلون. وكذلك جعلنا لكل نبي عدوا شياطين الإنس والجن يوحي بعضهم إلى بعض زخرف القول غرورا ولو شاء ربك ما فعلوه فذرهم وما يفترون ولتصغى إليه أفئدة الذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة وليرضوه وليقترفوا ما هم مقترفون. أفغير الله أبتغي حكما وهو الذي أنزل إليكم الكتاب مفصلا والذين آتيناهم الكتاب يعلمون أنه منزل من ربك بالحق فلا تكونن من الممترين. وتمت كلمة ربك صدقا وعدلا لا مبدل لكلماته وهو السميع العليم. وإن تطع أكثر من في الأرض يضلوك عن سبيل الله إن يتبعون إلا الظن وإن هم إلا يخرصون. إن ربك هو أعلم من يضل عن سبيله وهو أعلم بالمهتدين. فكلوا مما ذكر اسم الله عليه إن كنتم بآياته مؤمنين. وما لكم ألا تأكلوا مما ذكر اسم الله عليه وقد فصل لكم ما حرم عليكم إلا ما اضطررتم إليه وإن كثيرا ليضلون بأهوائهم بغير علم. إن ربك هو أعلم بالمعتدين. وذروا ظاهر الإثم وباطنه إن الذين يكسبون الإثم سيجزون بما كانوا يقترفون. ولا تأكلوا مما لم يذكر اسم الله عليه وإنه لفسق وإن الشياطين ليوحون إلى أوليائهم ليجادلوكم وإن أطعتموهم إنكم لمشركون. أو من كان ميتا فأحييناه وجعلنا له نورا يمشي به في الناس كمن مثله في الظلمات ليس بخارج منها كذلك زين للكافرين ما كانوا يعملون. وكذلك جعلنا في كل قرية أكابر مجرميها ليمكروا فيها وما يمكرون إلا بأنفسهم وما يشعرون. وإذا جاءتهم آية قالوا لن نؤمن حتى نؤتى مثل ما أوتي رسل الله الله أعلم حيث يجعل رسالته سيصيب الذين أجرموا صغار عند الله وعذاب شديد بما كانوا يمكرون. فمن يرد الله أن يهديه يشرح صدره للإسلام ومن يرد أن يضله يجعل صدره ضيقا حرجا كأنما يصعد في السماء كذلك يجعل الله الرجس على الذين لا يؤمنون. وهذا صراط ربك مستقيما قد فصلنا الآيات لقوم يذكرون. لهم دار السلام عند ربهم وهو وليهم بما كانوا يعملون. ويوم يحشرهم جميعا يا معشر الجن قد استكثرتم من الإنس وقال أولياؤهم من الإنس ربنا استمتع بعضنا ببعض وبلغنا أجلنا الذي أجلت لنا قال النار مثواكم خالدين فيها إلا ما شاء الله إن ربك حكيم عليم. وكذلك نولي بعض الظالمين بعضا بما كانوا يكسبون. يا معشر الجن والإنس ألم يأتكم رسل منكم يقصون عليكم آياتي وينذرونكم لقاء يومكم هذا قالوا شهدنا على أنفسنا وغرتهم الحياة الدنيا وشهدوا على أنفسهم أنهم كانوا كافرين. ذلك أن لم يكن ربك مهلك القرى بظلم وأهلها غافلون ولكل درجات مما عملوا وما ربك بغافل عما يعملون. وربك الغني ذو الرحمة إن يشأ يذهبكم ويستخلف من بعدكم ما يشاء كما أنشأكم من ذرية قوم آخرين. إنما توعدون لآت وما أنتم بمعجزين. قل يا قوم قل يا قوم اعملوا على مكانتكم إني عامل فسوف تعلمون من تكون له عاقبة الدار إنه لا يفلح الظالمون واجعلوا لله مما ذرأ من الحرث والأنعام نصيبا فقالوا هذا لله بزعمهم وهذا لشركائنا فما كان لشركائهم فلا يصل إلى الله وما كان لله فهو يصل إلى شركائهم ساء ما يحكمون وكذلك زين لكثير من المشركين قتل أولادهم شركاؤهم ليردوهم وليلبسوا عليهم دينهم ولو شاء الله ما فعلوه فذرهم وما يفترون وقالوا هذه أنعام وحرث حجر لا يطعمها إلا من نشاء بزعمهم وأنعام حرمت ظهورها وأنعام لا يذكرون اسم الله عليها افتراء عليه سيجزيهم بما كانوا يفترون وقالوا ما في بطون هذه الأنعام خالصة لذكورنا ومحرم على أزواجنا وإن يك ميتة فهم فيه شركاء سيجزيهم وصفهم إنه حكيم عليم قد خسر الذين قتلوا أولادهم سفها بغير علم وحرموا ما رزقهم الله افتراء على الله قد ضلوا وما كانوا مهتدين وهو الذي أنشأ جنات معروشات وغير معروشات والنخل والزرع مختلفا أكله والزيتون والرمان متشابها وغير متشابه كلوا من ثمره إذا أثمر وآتوا حقه يوم حصاده ولا تسرفوا إنه لا يحب المسرفين ومن الأنعام حمولة وفرشا كلوا مما رزقكم الله ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين 8 أزواج من الضأن 2 ومن المعز 2 قل الذكرين حرم أم الأنثيين أما اشتملت عليه أرحام الأنثيين نبئوني بعلم إن كنتم صادقين ومن الإبل 2 ومن البقر 2 قل الذكرين حرم أم الأنثيين أما اشتملت عليه أرحام الأنثيين أم كنتم شهداء إذ وصاكم الله بهذا فمن أظلم من افترى على الله كذبا ليضل الناس بغير علم إن الله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين قل لا أجد فيما أوحي إلي محرما على طاعم يطعمه إلا أن يكون ميتة أو دما مسفوحا أو لحم خنزير فإنه رجس أو فسقا أهل لغير الله به فمن اضطر غير باغ ولا عاد فإن ربك غفور رحيم وعلى الذين هادوا حرمنا كل ذي ظفر ومن البقر والغنم حرمنا عليهم شحومهما إلا ما حملت ظهورهما أو الحوايا أو ما اختلط بعظم ذلك جزيناهم ببغيهم وإن لصادقون فإن كذبوك فقل ربكم ذو رحمة وسعة ولا يرد بأسه عن القوم المجرمين سيقول الذين أشركوا لو شاء الله ما أشركنا ولا آباؤنا ولا حرمنا من شيء كذلك كذب الذين من قبلهم حتى ذاقوا بأسنا قل هل عندكم من علم فتخرجوه لنا إن تتبعون إلا الظن وإن أنتم إلا تخرصون قل فلله الحجة البالغة فلو شاء لهداكم أجمعين قل هلم شهداءكم الذين يشهدون أن الله حرم هذا فإن شهدوا فلا تشهد معهم ولا تتبع أهواء الذين كذبوا بآياتنا والذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة وهم بربهم يعدلون قل تعالوا أتل ما حرم ربكم عليكم ألا تشركوا به شيئا وبالوالدين إحسانا ولا تقتلوا أولادكم من إملاق نحن نرزقكم وإياهم ولا تقربوا الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن ولا تقتلوا النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق ذلكم وصاكم به لعلكم تعقلون ولا تقربوا مال اليتيم إلا بالتي هي أحسن حتى يبلغ أشده وأوفوا الكيل والميزان بالقسط لا نكلف نفسا إلا وسعها وإذا قلتم فاعدلوا ولو كان ذا قربى وبعهد الله أوفوا ذلكم وصاكم به لعلكم تذكرون وأن هذا صراطي مستقيما فاتبعوه ولا تتبعوا السبل فتفرق بكم عن سبيله ذلكم وصاكم به لعلكم تتقون ثم آتينا موسى الكتاب تماما على الذي أحسن وتفصيلا لكل شيء وهدى ورحمة لعلهم بلقاء ربهم يؤمنون وهذا كتاب أنزلناه مبارك فاتبعوه واتقوا لعلكم ترحمون أن تقولوا إنما أنزل الكتاب على طائفتين من قبلنا وإن كنا عن دراستهم لغافلين أو تقولوا لو أن أنزل علينا الكتاب لكنا أهدى منهم فقد جاءكم بينة من ربكم وهدى ورحمة فمن أظلم ممن كذب بآيات الله وصدف عنها سنجزي الذين يصدفون عن آياتنا سوء العذاب بما كانوا يصدفون هل ينظرون إلا أن تأتيهم الملائكة أو يأتي ربك أو يأتي بعض آيات ربك يوم يأتي بعض آيات ربك لا ينفع نفسا إيمانها لم تكن آمنت من قبل أو كسبت في إيمانها خيرا قل انتظروا إنا منتظرون إن الذين فرقوا دينهم وكانوا شيعا لست منهم في شيء إنما أمرهم إلى الله ثم ينبئهم بما كانوا يفعلون من جاء بالحسنة فله 10 أمثالها ومن جاء بالسيئة فلا يجزى إلا مثلها وهم لا يظلمون قل إنني هداني ربي إلى صراط مستقيم دينا قيما قل إنني هداني ربي إلى صراط مستقيم من دينا قيما ملة إبراهيم حنيفا وما كان من المشركين قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين قل أغير الله أبغي ربا وهو رب كل شيء ولا تكسب كل نفس إلا عليها ولا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى ثم إلى ربكم مرجعكم فينبئكم بما كنتم فيه تختلفون وهو الذي جعلكم خلائف الأرض ورفع بعضكم فوق بعض درجات ليبلوكم فيما آتاكم إن ربك سريع العقاب وإنه لغفور رحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم صاد كتاب أنزل إليك فلا يكن في صدرك حرج منه لتنذر به وذكرى للمؤمنين اتبعوا ما أنزل إليكم من ربكم ولا تتبعوا من دونه أولياء قليلا ما تذكرون وكم من قرية أهلكناها فجاءها بأسنا بياتا أو هم قائلون فما كان دعواهم إذ جاءهم بأسنا إلا أن قالوا إنا كنا ظالمين فلنسألن الذين أرسل إليهم ولنسألن المرسلين فلنقصن عليهم بعلم وما كنا غائبين والوزن يومئذ الحق فمن ثقلت موازينه فأولئك هم المفلحون ومن خفت موازينه فأولئك الذين خسروا أنفسهم بما كانوا بآياتنا يظلمون ولقد مكناكم في الأرض وجعلنا لكم فيها معايش قليلا ما تشكرون ولقد خلقناكم ثم صورناكم ثم قلنا للملائكة اسجدوا لآدم فسجدوا إلا إبليس لم يكن من الساجدين قال ما منعك ألا تسجد إذ أمرتك قال أنا خير منه خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين قال فاهبط منها فما يكون لك أن تتكبر فيها فاخرج إنك من الصاغرين قال انظرني إلى يوم يبعثون قال إنك من المنظرين قال فبما أغويتني لأقعدن لهم صراطك المستقيم ثم لأتينهم من بين أيديهم ومن خلفهم وعن أيمانهم وعن شمائلهم ولا تجد أكثرهم شاكرين قال اخرج منها مذءوما مدحورا لمن تبعك منهم لأملأن جهنم منكم أجمعين ويا آدم اسكن أنت وزوجك الجنة فكلا من حيث شئتما ولا تقربا هذه الشجرة فتكونا من الظالمين فوسوس لهما الشيطان ليبدي لهما ما وري عنهما من سوآتهما وقال ما نهاكما ربكما عن هذه الشجرة إلا أن تكونا ملكين أو تكونا من الخالدين. وقاسمهما إني لكما لمن الناصحين فدلاهما بغرور فلما ذاقا الشجرة بدت لهما سوآتهما وطفقا يخصفان عليهما من ورق الجنة وناداهما ربهما ألم أنهكما عن تلكما الشجرة وأقل لكما إن الشيطان لكما عدو مبين. قالا ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. قال اهبطوا بعضكم لبعض عدو ولكم في الأرض مستقر ومتاع إلى حين. قال فيها تحيون وفيها تموتون ومنها تخرجون. يا بني آدم قد أنزلنا عليكم لباسا يواري سوآتكم وريشا ولباس التقوى ذلك خير ذلك من آيات الله لعلهم يذكرون. يا بني آدم لا يفتننكم الشيطان كما أخرج أبويكم من الجنة ينزع عنهما لباسهما ليريهما سوآتهما إنه يراكم هو وقبيله من حيث لا ترونهم إن جعلنا الشياطين أولياء للذين لا يؤمنون. وإذا فعلوا فاحشة قالوا وجدنا عليها آباءنا والله أمرنا بها قل إن الله لا يأمر بالفحشاء أتقولون على الله ما لا تعلمون. قل أمر ربي بالقسط وأقيموا وجوهكم عند كل مسجد وادعوه مخلصين له الدين كما بدأكم تعودون. فريقا هدى وفريقا حق عليهم الضلالة إنهم اتخذوا الشياطين أولياء من دون الله ويحسبون أنهم مهتدون. يا بني آدم خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد وكلوا واشربوا ولا تسرفوا إنه لا يحب المسرفين. قل من حرم زينة الله التي أخرج لعباده والطيبات من الرزق قل هي الذين آمنوا في الحياة الدنيا خالصة يوم القيامة كذلك نفصل الآيات لقوم يعلمون. قل إنما حرم ربي الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن والإثم والبغي بغير الحق وأن تشركوا بالله ما لم ينزل به سلطانا وأن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون. ولكل أمة أجل فإذا جاء أجلهم لا يستأخرون ساعة ولا يستقدمون. يا بني آدم إما يأتينكم رسل منكم يقصون عليكم آياتي فمن اتقى وأصلح فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. والذين كذبوا بآياتنا واستكبروا عنها أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. فمن أظلم ممن افترى على الله كذبا أو كذب بآياته أولئك ينالهم نصيبهم من الكتاب حتى إذا جاءتهم رسلنا يتوفونهم قالوا أين ما كنتم تدعون من دون الله قالوا ضلوا عنا وشهدوا على أنفسهم أنهم كانوا كافرين. قال ادخلوا في قد خلت من قبلكم من الجن والإنس في النار كلما دخلت أمة لعنت أختها حتى إذا اداركوا فيها جميعا قالت أخراهم لأولاهم ربنا هؤلاء أضلون فآتهم عذابا ضعفا من النار قال لكل ضعف ولكن لا تعلمون. وقالت أولاهم لأخراهم فما كان لكم علينا من فضل فذوقوا العذاب بما كنتم تكسبون. إن الذين كذبوا بآياتنا واستكبروا عنها لا تفتح لهم أبواب السماء ولا يدخلون الجنة حتى يلج الجمل في سم الخياط وكذلك نجزي المجرمين. لهم من جهنم مهاد ومن فوقهم غواش وكذلك نجزي الظالمين. والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لا نكلف نفسا إلا وسعها أولئك أصحاب الجنة هم فيها خالدون. ونزعنا ما في صدورهم من غل تجري من تحتهم الأنهار وقالوا الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق ونودوا أن تلكم الجنة ورثتموها بما كنتم تعملون.
ونادى أصحاب الجنة أصحاب النار أن قد وجدنا ما وعدنا ربنا حقا فهل وجدتم ما وعد ربكم حقا؟ قالوا نعم. فأذن مؤذن بينهم اللعنة فأذن مؤذن بينهم اللعنة الله على الظالمين. الذين يصدون عن سبيل الله ويبغونها عوجا وهم بالآخرة كافرون. وبينهما حجاب وعلى الأعراف رجال يعرفون كلا بسيماهم ونادوا أصحاب الجنة أن سلام عليكم لم يدخلوها وهم يطمعون. وإذا صرفت أبصارهم تلقاء أصحاب النار قالوا ربنا لا تجعلنا مع القوم الظالمين. ونادى أصحاب الأعراف رجالا يعرفونهم بسيماهم قالوا ما أغنى عنكم جمعكم وما كنتم تستكبرون أهؤلاء الذين أقسمتم لا ينالهم الله برحمة ادخلوا الجنة لا خوف عليكم ولا أنتم تحزنون. ونادى أصحاب النار أصحاب الجنة أن أفيضوا علينا من الماء أو مما رزقكم الله قالوا إن الله حرمهما على الكافرين. الذين اتخذوا دينهم لهوا ولعبا وغرتهم الحياة الدنيا فاليوم ننساهم كما نسوا لقاء يومهم هذا وما كانوا بآياتنا يجحدون. ولقد جئناهم بكتاب فصلناه على علم هدى ورحمة لقوم يؤمنون. هل ينظرون إلا تأويله يوم يأتي تأويله يقول الذين نسوه من قبل قد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق فهل لنا من شفعاء فيشفعوا لنا أو نرد فنعمل غير الذي كنا نعمل قد خسروا أنفسهم وضل عنهم ما كانوا يفترون. إن ربكم الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش يغشي الليل النهار يطلبه حثيثا والشمس والقمر والنجوم مسخرات بأمره ألا له الخلق والأمر تبارك الله رب العالمين. ادعوا ربكم تضرعا وخفية إنه لا يحب المعتدين. ولا تفسدوا في الأرض بعد إصلاحها وادعوه خوفا وطمعا إن رحمة الله قريب من المحسنين. وهو الذي يرسل الرياح بشرا بين يدي رحمته حتى إذا أقلت سحابا ثقالا سقناه لبلد ميت فأنزلنا به الماء فأخرجنا به من كل الثمرات كذلك نخرج الموتى لعلكم تذكرون. والبلد الطيب يخرج نباته بإذن ربه والذي خبث لا يخرج إلا نكدا كذلك نصرف الآيات لقوم يشكرون. لقد أرسلنا نوحا إلى قومه فقال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره إني أخاف عليكم عذاب يوم عظيم. قال الملأ من قومه إنا لنراك في ضلال مبين. قال يا قوم ليس بي ضلالة ولكني رسول من رب العالمين أبلغكم رسالات ربي وأنصح لكم وأعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون. أو عجبتم أن جاءكم ذكر من ربكم على رجل منكم لينذركم ولتتقوا ولعلكم ترحمون. فكذبوه فأنجيناه والذين معه في الفلك وأغرقنا الذين كذبوا بآياتنا إنهم كانوا قوما عمين. وإلى عاد أخاهم هودا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره أفلا تتقون. قال الملأ الذين كفروا من قومه إنا لنراك في سفاهة وإنا لنظنك من الكاذبين. قال يا قوم ليس بي سفاهة ولكني رسول من رب العالمين أبلغكم رسالات ربي وأنا لكم ناصح أمين. أو عجبتم أن جاءكم ذكر من ربكم على رجل منكم لينذركم واذكروا إذ جعلكم خلفاء من بعد قوم نوح وزادكم في الخلق بسطة فاذكروا آلاء الله لعلكم تفلحون. قالوا أجئتنا لنعبد الله وحده ونذر ما كان يعبد آباؤنا فأتنا بما تعدنا إن كنت من الصادقين. قال قد وقع عليكم من ربكم رجس وغضب أتجادلونني في أسماء سميتموها أنتم وآباؤكم ما نزل الله بها من سلطان فانتظروا إني معكم من المنتظرين فأنجيناه والذين معه برحمة منا وقطعنا دابر الذين كذبوا بآياتنا وما كانوا مؤمنين وإلى ثمود أخاهم صالح صالحا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره قد جاءتكم بينة من ربكم هذه ناقة الله لكم آية فذروها تأكل في أرض الله ولا تمسوها بسوء فيأخذكم عذاب أليم واذكروا إذ جعلكم خلفاء من بعد عاد وبوأكم في الأرض تتخذون من سهولها قصورا وتنحتون الجبال بيوتا فاذكروا آلاء الله ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين قال الملأ الذين استكبروا من قومه للذين استضعفوا لمن آمن منهم أتعلمون أن صالحا مرسل من ربه قالوا إن بما أرسل به مؤمنون قال الذين استكبروا إنا بالذي آمنتم به كافرون فعقروا الناقة وعتوا عن أمر ربهم وقالوا يا صالح ائتنا بما تعدنا إن كنت من المرسلين فأخذتهم الرجفة فأصبحوا في دارهم جاثمين فتولى عنهم وقال يا قوم لقد أبلغتكم رسالة ربي ونصحت لكم ولكن لا تحبون الناصحين ولوطا إذ قال لقومه أتأتون الفاحشة ما سبقكم بها من أحد من العالمين إنكم لتأتون الرجال شهوة من دون النساء بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وما كان جواب قومه إلا أن قالوا أخرجوهم من قريتكم إنهم أناس يتطهرون فأنجيناه وأهله إلا امرأته كانت من الغابرين وأمطرنا عليهم مطرا فانظر كيف كان عاقبة المجرمين وإلى مدين أخاهم شعيبا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره قد جاءتكم بينة من ربكم فأوفوا الكيل والميزان ولا تبخسوا الناس أشياءهم ولا تفسدوا في الأرض بعد إصلاحها ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين ولا تقعدوا بكل صراط توعدون وتصدون عن سبيل الله من آمن به وتبغونها عوجا واذكروا إذ كنتم قليلا فكثركم وانظروا كيف كان عاقبة المفسدين وإن كانت طائفة منكم آمنوا بالذي أرسلت به وطائفة لم يؤمنوا فاصبروا حتى يحكم الله بيننا وهو خير الحاكمين. So I have read the whole juz today, the whole chapter, without stopping in between because number one, I wanted to read the chapter because I haven't read yesterday, because when I start talking, I find myself, going on and on and on, and I go on multiple topics, so it's better that I do that at the end. And the other reason for that is because what we've read today is very special. It's very special to me. The very first time I've read that and actually understood it. So what we're reading here, guys, this is surah in the Quran. It's called Al-A'raf, and it has multiple translations, and one of those translations is it's a nation. It's a nation of multiple nations, right? So it's a certain nation. So in this surah in the Quran, multiple nations are being explained and their stories are being told here, and they're being told after the story of the creation. This is one of the most special surahs in the Quran for me. It starts with the story of the creation, how God created Adam, and why the devil, Satan, Shaitan, which is a mainstream trend in fashion right now, when he saw Adam being created and being given some blessings from God, he asked, why are you giving him those blessings? Why are you creating him to rule this earth, to exist on this earth, and not me?
I'm better. When I said before reading that the test that we humans have, it's a blessing and a burden, we can understand the burden. We can find anything and many things. If you wanna complain in this life, you will be able to complain. No matter how blessed you've been or how blessed you are, if you wanna complain, you'll find some reason to complain. Look at any comedian who stands on a stage; they'll find something to keep complaining about and make fun of. This is a burden, and the more that you look, the more that you'll see that nothing makes sense. So what's the blessing? The blessing is actually being able to do that. Being able to think, and yet have patience, and yet think more, and understanding the blessing, understanding how you as a human, by yourself, you can reach the conclusion and reach the truth that is the most wonderful truth that we ever can reach as humans, which is who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is for me, it's the most wonderful thing, and nothing is more amazing than that. This is it, So, because think of it like that, all right? If you, for example, in a certain career right now, what is and that career is everything for you. Whatever that career is, in media, in engineering, in politics, in finance, whatever the career and the industry that you are in, what is it you consider to be the most amazing thing ever? It's to be on top. First, before being on top, is to find out who's on top, get close to him, and then get the keys to be on top of everything. That's it. This is your life. This is the epitome of your dreams. If you think about it long enough, you will understand that industry of yours, that career, that life that you're living right now, it's just one minute, tiny, teeny part of a much bigger world. And then you'll think more and find that this world is a teeny, tiny part of a much bigger universe, and so on and so on and so on, until you get to the realization that we've talked about in the episode that was before that, where we told the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, that you'll find that, oh wow, there is only one God, that La ilaha illallah. So the shahada in Islam, it's two parts. The first part, it's La ilaha illallah, which translates to there is only one God, there is no God but Allah. That is huge. The second part is understanding that the message that God sent to humans throughout history, throughout humanity, existed since Adam alayhi salam. When we say alayhi salam, it means peace be upon him. Moving through the prophets until it got to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And this is the second part of the shahada, which is the both parts are La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. And they start with ashhad. Ashhad means I announce, I proclaim, I attest, I confirm. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. It's huge. So that's the blessing, because getting to that by ourselves as humans, nothing else is like it in the whole universe. Now the devil was jealous. He wanted that. By the way, I understand that anyone who's thinking of supernatural ideas, or the media trend mind here, our minds have been trained to think about all of that in terms of fantasy, and in terms of but the devil can be handsome and can get all the checks and can have power to as a Lucifer series and all of the supernatural series and everything like that. It's not just fantasy, guys.
please think about it more. Don't make that your philosophy, because if that's your philosophy, well, bro, just if you want girls, go get laid. You don't understand that's not it. If you want money, go get money. It's not it. Grow up over those things, because that's not it, bro. The reasons that we make series about those cheap things, it's because it's much harder to make series about real things. Number one. Number two, they're not gonna sell as much, because those things, as I said, are cheap, and when we commercialize the cheap things, we can sell more, because it's easier, and because we can't sell for cheap what's not cheap. You can't. The reasons that you can sell a lot is because what you're selling is cheap, and the reasons that you're selling it for cheap is because it's cheap. But if content is being made about what I'm talking about right now, and the truth and all of that, imagine how hard. And because one thing also, you can't accumulate wealth out of selling freedom. You need to sell slavery to accumulate wealth. So after the story of creation, it goes into how the devil said to God that I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that creature, that human that you've created, never sets foot on the right path. And he starts saying all of the things that you can read yourself. And yeah, anyone who's read about religion can understand that it starts from our instincts, guys. We wanna eat, but we don't always know when to stop. We wanna have sex, we don't always know when to stop, and stuff like that. So those are the keys that the devil uses to manipulate our psyche. And after that, the surah goes into telling the stories of nation after nation after nation, and how every nation was sent a prophet, and how every time a prophet goes to the nation, he tells them there is only one God. And the way that he tells them and all of that, it's not like one day someone walks down the street of that nation telling them, guys, come on, there is only one God, come on, repent, let's go. Nah. Here is the thing. Don't think about things I don't know how you guys, when you listen about such stuff, you think about it, but I know how I was thinking about them as a child, as a kid. I know how the media portray some of that stuff. It's not like that. The way that each one of those prophets talked to their nation, not just, it wasn't, he wasn't telling them about something that was outside of anything that ever thought about. Nah. It's hard for us as humans to actually see how far we've gone down the wrong path. It takes a lot to actually get someone to stop and think. Because, as I said, we've been equipped with the most amazing tools that exist in this universe. It's consciousness and it's awareness. And we have an amazing way to rationalize to ourselves everything that we're doing. I want to talk a lot more about that later, but guys, it's an hour 8 now. And I'll start my next Qur'an video tomorrow, inshallah, or maybe later today, explaining that. How every nation, because I've talked a lot this part, and what I'm gonna explain now is the other core part, or one of the other core parts in my psyche and my doctrine and my ideology. So until then, see you then, guys. Taking a break right now.